Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Bricks and Bleachers podcast. All things Chicago Cubs in under 10 minutes. Cubs making some front office moves ahead of a busy offseason. We'll tell you what's going on. World Series is hours away. We've got a preview and a look at other news from around Major League Baseball. Jed Hoyer has been busy filling out his front office for the Cubs. He is president of operations, has been for a year since Theo Epstein left 1 year ago. He moved up from general manager. The position was never filled until last week. Carter Hawkins is now the new general manager of the Chicago Cubs. He was most recently with Cleveland as their assistant general manager. Been in the organization a long time, 14 or 15 years, moving his way up through the organization. A lot of experience in player development. And if you think of that Cleveland organization, so many great players, homegrown players have hit the field with Cleveland in recent years. Hawkins says he's diving right in with the Cubs, getting to know everyone throughout the organization, players, office folks, everyone in between. As it relates to the front office setup, you can expect Hoyer to continue to handle transactions. Hawkins will focus in player development, and certainly his experience there is a big attraction factor for the Cubs. Another move in the Cubs front office announced yesterday. Astros executive Ehsan Bokhari was announced as the Cubs' assistant general manager. Last 3 years, Bokhari has worked with the Astros player evaluation program, overseeing all efforts of the team's research and development. So now you got to think the Cubs front office is set. Hoyer leading the way, Hawkins now driving the bus as GM, and Bokhari as assistant GM. They will be busy with free agency just around the corner. More on that later. Also yesterday, on Monday, Silver Slugger Award finalists were announced. Patrick Wisdom making the cut among National League third basemen. Austin Riley of the Braves, Manny Machado of the Padres, and Nolan Arenado of the Cardinals are also finalists at third in the National League. Wisdom, the only Cubs player named a finalist for the Silver Slugger Awards. Braves have 5 players named finalists. Astros, Yankees, and Blue Jays have 5 finalists apiece as well. Voting comes from managers and coaches throughout the league. Winners announced on November 11th. Cubs season ticket prices are going down for 2022. Season ticket holders received that info with their renewals in recent days. Price decreases varying based on section, based on location throughout Wrigley Field. Anywhere from less than a 1% decline to as much as a 3.5% decline. One report indicates the average decline being right around 2%. Just because season tickets are going down in price, individual game tickets may rise. That was the case a couple years ago. Following the 2019 season, heading into 2020, the team announced season ticket prices were going down, but individual game tickets were going up. I don't believe the team has indicated the prices of individual game tickets yet for 2022, but don't be surprised if they go up. Cubs chairman Tom Ricketts says the team has resources to be more competitive in 2022, but details are vague. He expressed that in a letter to fans. Might have seen that pop up in your email a couple weeks ago. There's no defined salary range that the club hopes to remain within, or at least that has not been released publicly. President Jed Hoyer has said the team will be active during the offseason, but spending intelligently. So read between the lines. That means you probably won't see the Cubs chasing the biggest names available, instead trying to stock up on second and third tier guys, plus hoping to find some under-the-radar guys with upside. Hoyer has also stated a lot of uncertainty exists with the expiration of the collective bargaining agreement. I've talked about that multiple times on the Bricks and Bleachers podcast. Current deal between the players and owners set to expire December 1. Two sides reportedly not close to a deal, but the last time the CBA was set to expire, a deal was reached within hours of expiration. That was 2016. I think even if it is up for expiration and it does expire without an agreement, that doesn't necessarily mean bad things. The two sides could agree to a negotiation window into or throughout the month of December or beyond. All right, our This and That segment, news and notes from around the league. Staying in the National League Central, the St. Louis Cardinals have made a managerial change. Mike Schilt fired shortly after the Cards' loss in the National League wildcard game. 35-year-old Oliver Marmol named manager. He's been the team's bench coach the last 3 years, so he's plenty familiar with the organization and players. He will be the youngest manager in Major League Baseball in nearly 20 years, and he's got multiple guys on his roster older than him at the moment. Jock Peterson is having another terrific postseason, this time with Atlanta. He won the World Series with the Dodgers last season, spent the first half of 2021 with the Cubs. Now he's in Atlanta, trying to be the first player to win a World Series in back-to-back years on different teams since Ben Zobrist in 2015 with Kansas City and, of course, 2016 with the Cubs. Another former Cub did that in recent years as well. Ryan Theriot did it in 2011 with the Cards and 2012 with the Giants. In staying with former Cubs entering free agency, a reunion of Anthony Rizzo and the New York Yankees likely to happen for 2022. Rizzo on record as being eager to return. Yankees are believed to be interested too. Now, Chris Bryant does not appear to be a high priority for the Giants. They got 2 months out of him and apparently will be moving on. No doubt there will be other suitors for KB. And Javi Baez may be returning to the Mets. Not a done deal, but there is speculation that Javi and the team may have a deal early in the offseason. There have been other reports saying the Yankees could somehow be in the running for Baez or drive up the price for him as well. So a lot to be said for those 3 former Cubs. And, of course, what the Cubs are going to be doing during this upcoming offseason. In our last episode, I predicted a Giants-White Sox World Series with San Fran taking it in 6. Neither team is going to be playing in the World Series this year. Braves and Astros getting underway tonight in Houston. It is the Astros' 3rd World Series appearance in 5 years. They have pulled off what the Cubs could not. They built a core group of players. That the Cubs did. They kept them together, which the Cubs also did, but the Astros have made repeated trips to the World Series while the Cubs could not. Dusty Baker leading the way for the Astros. Braves with a great roster already, but they were aggressive at the trade deadline. Great pitching matchup in Game 1. Charlie Morton for the Braves and Framber Valdez for the Astros. First pitch at 8:09 on Fox. Same start time tomorrow for Game 2. Then the series will shift to Atlanta for Games 3, 4, and 5 this weekend. That's Friday through Sunday. If necessary, Game 6, Tuesday, November 2nd, and Game 7, Wednesday the 3rd, both in Houston. After the World Series, free agency, and the looming expiration of the collective bargaining agreement will be the 2 big stories in Major League Baseball. We will see what moves the Cubs will make. There's no shortage of positions to fill. Certainly need pitching, rotation with a couple holes to fill. You can never have too many relievers as well. I thought the team did a great job assembling a bullpen for the 2021 season. I mean, Tepera, Chafin, and Kimbrel were mighty tough the first 3 or 4 months of this season for the Cubs. Let's see if they can assemble another group that produces similar results in the year ahead. Tweet us anytime with your Cubs thoughts, questions, observations at Bricks Bleachers. Also visit bricksandbleachers.com. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get yours. All things Chicago Cubs in under 10 minutes. You are listening to the Bricks and Bleachers podcast.